Hello again, and welcome to We're All Fine, the podcast that provides unsolicited advice and opinions from totally unqualified people. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Holly.
Oh, Carly.
We are I don't want to say excited, we are very eager to have this conversation with you guys today because we are going to be talking about time management. And the truth of the matter is, we tried to talk about it, but we didn't have time.
Look at you. You're a comedic genius.
Yeah.
Your timing is impeccable.
Stop it. Stop it.
Look at us.
You know what? I know that they call them dad jokes, but they're just mom jokes.
Yeah, well, what probably happened was the woman said it first and no one listened. And then the dude said it like it was his idea and everybody went, oh my God, it's so good. But maybe that just happens in like business meetings.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Conference calls.
So you know what? Damn it, I'm going to be just dropping cornball jokes for the whole episode. Because if people are listening to this episode, they have to hear them from me first.
I like that. I like
Boom.
it. I like
Boom.
it.
Mic drop.
Now every dad joke I hear, I'm going to be like, my friend Holly came up with this one. I don't care if you saw it on a popsicle stick in 1993. My friend Holly wrote it.
Yeah, and then they took it and put it on that popsicle stick back in 1993 because she's been just dishing these out since she came out of the womb.
Dishing over fists. I've never understood that saying. Like, is it just because you're like this, or is it like sexual, or is it not like a politically correct thing anymore?
You know what? That's a really good thing. I feel like so much of stuff that I've said, people are like, do you know what the origin of that is? And I'm like, no, I can never say it again.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know, hand over fist, it depends on which time of my life I've been in as to how I've interpreted that.
Mm-hmm.
So younger, it had no connotation other than like something's happening a lot.
Nope.
But then as I got older and my brain reverted back to like 13-year-old self, I was like, so dirty.
Right.
It's disgusting because that's the only visual I could get. And then now I'm just afraid.
I think it's just like your hands are moving so fast, you know?
Yeah, they are.
People would be so lucky.
And this is a great introduction as to what we're talking about today, which is time management. And clearly,
see, you just get lost in a moment for a minute. You start having a little bit of fun and somehow you're late for something. I don't know. I don't like it.
This is the problem is I see it more with adults that we have so much more to do and so much less time. And yet we're finding all these other things that keep interfering with all the stuff that we need to do.
Yes.
And I think, has it been like this our entire lives? Have we all been so easily distracted? Or as I'm getting older, am I just having that sort of senile distraction into other things?
Maybe. Honestly, either way. I have pretty bad time management in the fact that procrastination is key for me. So I am ADHD, unmedicated, not because I don't want to. I just haven't self-advocated. Like, for a long time. My whole life, actually. We don't know when I was diagnosed. It was in the paperwork when I turned 18 when I went to my real doctor that ADHD was in there, but my mom and I have no idea because we weren't told, but it made a lot of sense. Neither of us were surprised. It was not something where we were like, oh, okay. But like,
what a weird thing to just like put in your medical files and not mention.
Yeah, I have no idea, but like it's for sure. So like adult ADHD. And like, I mean, when I was a kid, I was spacey, or I get really excited about something and then it fizzles out. And that has a lot to do with time management because I'm like, I don't care about anything else but knitting. And I'm going to knit the shit out of something. And then I get all the supplies and I dedicate a lot of time. And then I realize I don't want to knit. So I just don't. And then I let go and then I find the next thing. And like procrastination is the only way I can get a lot of things done. That pressure, I could have 6 months working in theater. God, it was always really hard. Like, I would know that I had a show coming up in 6 weeks. And then the week of, I'm like, I gotta do all this shit. Because that's the only way I could get stuff done. Because otherwise, I couldn't manage my time.
I feel like that's just kind of part and parcel of working in like a performing arts, is this
Yeah.
idea of you love so much working under pressure that you choose it as a career. Like you're like, I really like something that allows me to be imaginative and creative, but also save all of the work to the last moment. And that it's really much better when everyone is hyper stressed out and on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. Like you do your best art when it feels like life or death, I suppose. And it's certainly not. It's certainly not. But like we've talked about in like past episodes before, like being late, not being that great at like getting places on time. And that kind of inspired what I found for Our Could Be Worse,
Oh,
because
do
I thought
tell.
it was super funny, and I also thought it was really relatable, because we have all been the person that woke up from a nap not realizing it was the next day or thinking it was the next day. But this was really funny to me. So this says, male 35. I had a rough day at work, went home, got to sleep. Next morning, I woke up from a sound sleep, drool on my pillow, crusty eyes, and my heart starts pounding. The first couple breaths out of my mouth were gasps of air. I look at the clock because I already know I'm super late to work. I jump up. I don't have time for a shower. I brush my teeth as I'm making myself coffee. I didn't have time to even put socks on. I run to the train. My train's not coming. So I begin to panic even more. I decide I'll just run to the office. I start running to the office. It's a few blocks down the way. I get to the office. I go to open the door, and no one's there. That is when it hit me that it is Saturday, and I did not have to be at work today. I was not late for anything because of my poor time management. This is my normal. Okay,
God.
here's why I think this is so funny. We've all been that kid that like wakes up on a Saturday. Why is everybody else still asleep? It's Saturday, right? But there were so many things to tell this man that it was a day he didn't have to get up. His alarm didn't go off. The train wasn't there at the scheduled time because it's the weekend. He's running to work, goes to open the door. Only the door being locked is what got him. He could have just looked at his cell phone screen and been like, oh shit, it's Saturday. What am I doing?
Okay, but
That whole time.
the number of times I actually look at the day or the date on my phone when I'm not trying to like write it on a medical form, it's so rare.
That's fair. That's actually really fair.
Now I'll check the time constantly because I have my smartwatch and I am electronically leashed to all communications. But when I actually notice the day of the week, I mean, the thing that keeps me mostly on top of day of the week anymore are my kids. After I left school, like when I graduated college, I was out for a while just doing lots of different jobs, but a lot of it was theater based jobs. Days of the week were, I guess it's always different, right? It's not the same kind of thing. And then I went back into a classroom to teach for, I taught for like a million years. And that's what kept me on board for what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
But now that I've left that, the only thing that keeps me on top of that are my kids' school schedule.
Yeah.
So once we hit summertime,
I don't know what day it is.
I don't know what's happening. So I'm trying really hard to like keep it together for like dance, like that, because my kids are really heavily into that. And my son's doing like band camp, stuff like that. And that's helpful, but none of it's like regular schedule anymore because that's also summer. So I get it. That makes total sense to me. What day is it today? I don't even know what day. The sun is out. That's what day it is. It's Sunday. It's not though. It's not Sunday.
It's not Sunday.
No.
But I liked the self-awareness at the end of my poor time management skills are my norm. So I really liked that because I get it.
That's something I'd kind of like to know from our listeners is what is the thing that keeps your time management so out of whack? For me, going in with the best intentions. So I live by my Google Calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. I color code everything. So my calendar looks like the pride flag. Like most days, it's just everything, right? I really try to keep on top of stuff. But then
Yeah.
something comes up, like Instagram, that
Yeah.
happens. And then there's a great reel, which pulls me into another reel, into another one, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You
My
know?
couch. My couch. Like, we have a really committed, very intimate relationship. And there are times where it just calls to me. And speaking of reels and your couch, I just saw something the other day. A woman on Reels was like, what is something that sounds like an excuse, but it isn't if you have ADHD or poor time management? And this other girl, like, stitched it, and she comes on and she goes, I sat down. And I was like, yeah, 100%, legit.
Accurate. That's not even for ADHD or poor time management.
No.
That's age. Because as I get older,
Yep.
if I sit down, like, that's it. You know, they say an object in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
If I am not in motion, that's not getting me back up is going to be rough. Like, there are times where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit. But you know what? I need to make sure that I go ahead and move my laundry over before I sit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I move my laundry and I'm like, shit, I also have to get dinner started. You know, I've got a little bit of time, so I'm just going to sit. Nope. Because if I sit, it won't get done. So I got to just do that really quick. And so I find myself doing a million different things before I sit down because I know once my ass hits that chair, there's no going back.
No, there's no way back. I'm here now. This is me now. This is me, Slugsworth, Carly, just slugging out. And there are some days where I feel badly about it. The worst is when you are super stressed out because you have so much to do. And the lingering, like, everything is gonna need to happen. And then you just sit down and don't do anything, but then you stress veg out. I can't tell you how often in my lifetime, even this week, I have stress vegged, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. And I'm staring at the dishes while I'm also watching Love is Blind. Like, wow. Those dishes. Ugh, I'm a terrible monster. Ooh, what's Kayla saying? Like, this is literally, like, I'm stress vegging.
People ask you later on, like, what did you do today? And you're like, well, because in your brain, you're like, it was a lot because I feel exhausted. My emotional, like, well is completely drained. So I know it was a lot, but I think it was just me spending the day worrying about not doing anything.
Yeah, all of the things I was supposed to do that I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure people do this too. I am really good at believing that tomorrow Carly is capable of all things and everything. Like, today Carly is tired. Today Carly is prioritizing peace. Tomorrow Carly will get all of the things that she has to get done, and it's going to be great. And I just learned that a lot of that actually can do with our ovulation cycle.
Do tell.
So during our ovulation cycle, we get higher levels of, I think it's carrot. I don't remember that one, but we get a shot of testosterone, basically. Like, our testosterone levels increase. And so with more testosterone, we feel more confident. We are more like, because that is what testosterone does, right? So most women are the most productive during their ovulation week than they are for the rest of the cycle because we have a little bit of help hormonally to, like, get shit done. And that just tells me that we should have 1 week off for when we bleed, 1 week of productivity that can be expected of us, and then the other 2 weeks we should be able to pick and choose what we want to do when we want to do it.
Carly for president. I am for this. You have my vote.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I would only need just probably a couple more. But yeah, when I learned that, like, there's more science to it, and there's a couple other hormones, like, increases and stuff. But yeah, during our ovulation week, when you're ovulating, if you notice, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I am so productive. I notice it. My house gets cleaner. I have more energy. Like, I feel a little bit better in my body because, you know, my boobs are a little bit bigger, but I'm not bloated. So I'm like, I'm delicious. Yeah, it's because it's because of our hormone change.
So about the time that I feel like I want to, like, peacock around the house is also the time that I should really focus on, like, reorganizing the office like I've been wanting to.
Yeah.
Okay.
More than likely.
That doesn't feel as sexy as I want it to be. Like, it's real hard to peacock and also file.
Just watch yourself in the mirror. Ooh.
Ooh.
As you take the file out. As you bend over to get the thing, snap back, like, I'm delicious.
Okay.
Do
Do a little
that.
bend and snap while putting the dishes in. I love it.
Elle
Okay.
Woods, man, she didn't say it was just to get a man. Maybe it's also to make us feel good about ourselves. Quick bend and snap for yourself.
I want to be your running mate so badly in your run for office. I'm so there.
Yeah, we will only be productive when we ovulate, and only if we want to.
It's a very long chant, but it's worth it. It's worth it, and it might fit on a t-shirt. Maybe not on a button, but we could probably come up with like, I don't know.
Those like ridiculously large buttons that they have sometimes in like the novelty shop. We will not work for 2 days, 2 weeks. That's not the other thing. Yeah, no, I think it'll work out.
I
Our
like
merch
that.
might be complicated, but
but effective. So the other thing that always throws off my time management, and it never fails, it's like I have got my day planned to a T. I'm like on a roll. I'm master of the universe, feeling good. Testosterone level up along with all of the other shenanigans. I'm in it. And then all of a sudden, the phone rings. And it's like a call or a text. And I just don't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, friend, what's going on?
hello.
And then they go, do you have a minute? And of course I do, because I'm not a monster.
Yeah.
And then that's when it all comes out. And they're like, this thing, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, okay.
Yep.
And you want to be there for them because you love them. And you want to be
Yes.
that rock because goodness knows they've been yours a million times before. So you're like, yes, absolutely. But it's the worst possible moment for them to like need this assistance. Like you keep thinking to yourself, I think to myself, God, if you could just call me with this problem tomorrow, that'd be great.
Yes.
But that problem doesn't exist then. And you can't exactly tell your friends like, hey boo, can you struggle with this in about 12 hours?
Right.
That would be outstanding.
How many times have you it's your turn at the drive-thru. You've been in the line for like 100 hours. It's your turn to order and your phone rings and you know that you have to answer it. All the time.
Oh my God.
All the time. It is a constant for me. And then I'm like, hold on really quick. And I know that this phone call or this person really needs me. But I really need Taco Bell. So just hold on really quick. And then you try to do the whole back and forth, and both people think you're talking to them. Oh, it's hell. I hate it. And I know people are going to say, Carly, Holly, just text them that you will call them back when it's time.
No.
That doesn't work. That's not.
Because also, if it's not top of mind, then I may forget. I may be so involved in my Taco Bell that I forget to call you back, and it's important. So here's the way that I deal with that. There's two different, it depends on where you are at the drive-thru, but here's how I deal with it. The first one, if you're in the conversation just before you pull up, you tell the person, listen, give me 1 second. I have to get through this thing. I'm going to tell them that I'm talking with you. So hang on. I want them to know you're more important. 1 second. Then I put the call on mute and I go, hi, can I get that venti brown sugar oat milkshake and espresso and an egg bite? Thank you so much. And then I get back on and I'm like, hey, all right, you go. I told them I'm going to talk with them another time. And then the other person's like, thanks. And then part two is you get up to the window. Now you can't have the conversation where you're like, thanks for my stuff and my day's great. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So you have to use a lot of sign language that is, by the way, not American sign language. This is I don't know what I should call it, drive-through sign language. So you get up to the window and they go to hand you your stuff. So you put a finger up, right? And you point to the phone. They all get that. And then they'd usually give you like a wink and a nod.
Oh, they're in on it now. They're
always
on your team. Oh, yep. I like that.
Then you hand them whatever it is, the card or whatever, and then you mouth things to them. So you do a big mouth of thank you, but you got to make it like overly Yes, overly big, and then
Okay.
they know, and then you can kind of point to the phone like, "Sorry, what can you do?" Right? Like that's the kind of sign language you give, and it's
Right.
great. Nobody knows. Now, the only place you can't do this is if you're in line at Dutch Brothers, because Dutch Brothers needs to hear your entire fucking life story. They
Oh my
need to know your purpose, your backstory. They want to know your social security number, and all before they're going to hand you your latte.
Yeah, no, so maybe unpopular opinion. I don't need Willow hanging out of the window looking into my dirty ass car asking me about my fun plans for the day. Here's the thing, Willow, I don't have any, okay? I don't go to music festivals. I've never been to Burning Man. I'll never go to a Coachella. I don't make beaded bracelets with my best friends on a Friday night. So you and I have nothing in common. You are a beautiful, incredible soul, and I love you for who you are and all of your golden retriever beautiful energy. Leave me and my black cat ass alone and just give me my drink. I hate it. So you know what you just did during
Hmm.
Starbucks, to be like polite to both people? I
Right.
will literally fake phone calls in the line at Dutch Brothers because I do not want to talk to people. Like, oh,
No,
I'm so sorry. Oh, work. And I tell you what, it's the only way they won't talk to you. It's the only way.
not true. I've got a solution for you that will actually bring you joy when you do it. Here you go. And I've done this before. You just have to be willing to be a little embarrassed for a while.
Oh, shit.
When they
Okay.
go, "So, what are your plans for today?" Because it's without fail. You go, "I'm actually on my way to the gynecologist. Crossing fingers it's not contagious." End of conversation.
I love
That's
that.
it. That's it. There's no follow up for that. So
Right.
they just,
Like, what do they say? Like, me too.
yep, yeah, okay, yeah, good luck.
I love that. It also, I want you to know the story that you told about your mom saying, like, what did it cost you? A little bit of embarrassment. That applies here too. And so just so you know, like she's like one of my heroes at this point because it's true.
That's true.
I don't want to talk to you,
Nope.
Bentley.
And if
I
they
don't.
remember you the next time you pull through, they're not going to pretend like they remember you because they don't want to get into the conversation about
That's true.
whatever vag horror story you were about to break into earlier.
Right. That's super smart. Well, because I've always been like, well, maybe I just pretend that like I don't speak like the same language as that. But I can't pick up languages. Again, time management, a problem of mine. I hate practicing things. If I'm not like pretty instantly good at something, I'm not going to do it. I have played the guitar, the piano, the trumpet, the cornet, and none of them well because I wanted to be able to pick it up and just like strum the guitar like Santana, right? Like that's all I wanted. Couldn't do it, don't want to. Don't like knitting, crocheting, anything because you have to dedicate time to being good at something. And the same thing goes for languages. You have to practice. And you know what? My time is not gonna fucking practice anything. I was in Germany for a week. I picked up zero. Zero. I couldn't, I can't do it. And when I try to do accents, I sound like I'm being offensive, so I just can't do it.
Well, there's a lot of science out there too about like at a certain age, like the way your brain starts processing language. So I think that you have a free out on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, because I've tried all the things. Like Rosetta Stone, I'm not. I can't do
No,
it.
your time has to be used for other things. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we have to share with people is if you've got families, that's where your time goes. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that it happens to be, you writing a book with them or being in a family band, but whatever it is that you're doing with them, that's important. Uh,
Awesome.
trying to get friend time in, which let's be real, is straight up impossible
It
ever.
feels like it. Yeah.
I don't know how many people, when we're like, we should totally hang out, which is something that all adults say, right? Like, we should
Yep.
totally hang out. And then if
Confident.
you take that next step to be like, all right, let's check our calendars. And then it's like, all right, well, what are you doing in about 7 weeks? I have a free Wednesday, but only between 4:30 and 5:45. So are
Yeah.
you
Are you
free?
free? Are you free then? You feel that? I actually only have time to like drive past your house and wave. So if you could be outside next Thursday at 5 p.m., I will wave. And I'll even honk. I'll honk the horn. Tell you how much I love you. Take this time to figure out Morse code. I only know 4 phrases. Let's see if you get it right, you know? Yeah. No, that's fair.
I
That's
have
super
started
fair.
getting a little bit of anxiety when people are like, well, let's schedule it. Like it's that phrase right there. And they're like, let's schedule it. And I'm like, motherfucker. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, and as someone who like deals with anxiety, present right now, Carly is really excited to like go get like virgin margaritas in 3 weeks or 3 days or in a month from now.
Yeah.
But that day, whew, that's a different Carly. That Carly may not want to do that. That might feel like death. And that's one of the unpredictable parts too. Like the people around me are very loving and so gracious because there are times where like I've never been called a flake to my face, and I don't think people even say behind my back. I think the people that I have around me are like really understanding because if I bow out of something, it's usually out of my control. And
Right.
I've worked hard enough to understand that anxiety is kind of out of my control at some points. Like if I wake up that day and I can't do it, sorry about it. Like I'm really sorry, but I can't do it. But I always try to show up, and I try not to be late.
You know what I would love is if there was a way to just like, you've made plans with people and you need to let them know, like, you can't do it, but you don't want to say, like, I can't do it. For us to just FaceTime them, like,
That's
that
a
would be
good idea.
ideal if I could do that to people and maybe they would know in their heart, like, oh, she's having a day.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's kind of like those like onesie videos of like the sharks that all of the husbands and they friends and boyfriend girlfriend they friends fought for people, where when the girl has or they him have the shark suit on, that like you just leave them alone. I really like that.
Yes.
I really like that. I was dating a guy in high school, and his mom would put like earmuffs on, and she could hear you, but when she had the earmuffs on, she pretended like she couldn't. And it was the greatest thing in the world. So she would walk around the house, she would do the dishes, she'd play a video game, like whatever she wanted to do. And if she had those earmuffs on, she just pretended like she couldn't hear anyone around her. And that was how she made time where she could still be around her family. She didn't have to leave her home, because how often do we have to get us time sitting in a parking lot somewhere?
Yeah.
Because we need that 15 minutes of peace. But yeah, so she did it. And even though she could hear the TV and she could hear all the things, the dogs bark, she didn't care. She just pretended like she couldn't. And I thought that was a genius. Like, way to manage your time
Well,
where you get to do what you want with earmuffs on. And I really enjoyed that.
then that makes my teenage son a genius because he does that constantly with his earbuds. Like I know very well he can hear me. He just walks around with them all the time, but pretends like he cannot.
My
So,
child
you
does
know
the
what?
same thing.
He's ahead of his time. And I'm going to tell him that you said that.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome.
wanted to for our affirmation, which by the way, I realized we didn't have one last week.
That's okay.
And I feel really sad about it. So I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about affirmations. First of all, there is a science to them. If you hear these affirmations and you're like, that's not really like, it doesn't quite fit for me. Okay, I'm going to give you just a quick breakdown of what makes up an affirmation so you can do your own based off of what we're doing here. This is from Time Hacks, that's with a Z.com. First, you're going to determine which aspect of your life you're wanting to improve. So in this case, we're talking about time management, but it could be like relationships or work or whatever. Okay. Then you're going to make them positive. So whatever language you use, it's not going to be, I will stop procrastinating. It's going to be, I am disciplined and focused on completing my tasks on time. Right?
Oh,
Okay. So
yeah.
we're going to be positive in that instead of saying, I'm not going to do this thing. We don't want to say, I am not lazy. We're going to say, I am disciplined and motivated. Okay. So we're also going to use present tense. So we're not going to say things like, I will be confident. We're just going to say, I am confident, because you got to speak it into existence, right? So we're not saying
Right.
one day, we're saying right now. and then personalize them. So we always use I and me. Okay. So we got to make sure that those are in. And then finally, keep them specific and realistic. So as much as I would love to say, I am rich and successful, I'm going to say, I am confident in my ability to achieve financial abundance and success.
Okay. So don't lie to yourself. Don't be mean to yourself.
Right.
I like that.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
that's easy.
Our time management one for today. Okay. We're going to speak it into existence. Here we go.
I'm ready.
I use time wisely and am in control of my time. I use time wisely and am in control of my time.
Okay. It doesn't feel like truth yet, but I feel like it will soon.
I like any affirmation that makes me feel like I'm in control. So I'm going to take that.
Right.
I'm in control of my time. Well, if you guys have any extra time on your hands, or you are avoiding important tasks and need something to do to allow you to avoid those important tasks, we would love if you left us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple. Thank you so much. We would also love it if you would share any of these episodes with your buddies. So pass it along.
It's true.
Be like, guys, you would not believe what these ladies were saying. It's ridiculous.
No, I love that. And if people ask you about it, make sure to let them know that our episodes only really range from like 20 to 30 minutes. That is the number one question I get asked by all the people that are like, oh, I've been meaning to listen. How long is it? So don't be afraid to tell people that, because I get it. Some of us don't have an hour and a half because we are managing our time that we are in control of. But like 20 minutes, we could do it. That's a quick drive through town nowadays.
Except when you have guests.
Yeah.
And then they go to 45. But you know what?
You know what? That's 2 car rides.
Yep. And we would ask that you guys, stay with us, because we do have some great guests coming up over this next month. We're very excited to share with you and some fun things that we're going to need your help for. So check us out on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok, all at We're All Fine Podcast. You can always get a hold of us through We're All Fine Podcast at Gmail, or DM us on any of those media platforms.
Great job. Great job. You know
Sorry.
what?
My brain took a break too.
It's okay. You know what? Your brain was controlling its time. We are doing such a good thing.
Go.
We are doing so great. Leading by example.
And well, guys, we love you.
Love you.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.